Did the success of the single, was it Fairy Tale in New York?
Yeah.
Did that change the lifestyle of the band much? I think yours is coming after this. Yeah.
The lifestyle?
Yeah.
It didn't change our lifestyle, it changed our ability to live it. Increased it. It didn't really change much, no, it didn't change anything.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Guys just still the same old guys you were before that? Success hasn't changed at all?
Well, we were pretty successful before that, you know, in England, Ireland, Europe. And now we're even more successful in England, Ireland, and Europe. But, we're still slugging our guts out, you know, touring, you know, same as we were before.
That's kind of the policy of the band.
Well, it's the only way we can live. It's the only way we can possibly live. You know. We've got 8 people in the band. We've got, you know, altogether there's about 14 people, band and crew. We've got to pay everybody's wages every week. So, like, the only way we can possibly do it is by gigging. More or less constantly.
We tend to think of the Pogues as an Irish band. In fact, I guess there's only 3 or 4 members who are actually from Ireland.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the identity of the band, though. So it has a rather Irish sound to it.
Originally there was 6 members, yeah? And half of them, like me, Andrew, and the original bass player, Cox, were from Irish families, yeah? And, Spider...
Spider, would you like tea?
Japanese tea.
I mean, Spider and Chairman, James are English, I suppose. If you can call being from Manchester English and being Romanian Jewish English.
Hi, Spider.
And so it's always been like sort of half and half, you know, because like me and Andrew are still in it, and there's Terry and Phil who are both Dublin born and bred, if you can call being from Dublin Irish.
You had a nasty fall.
I think so, yeah.
If you don't feel compelled to talk or anything, you just sip this one out if you want to. You kind of look like you're in pain.
I am. A great deal of pain.
Not too, because you can't assume though that the band is more Irish, I guess, than anything else, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, the music is more Irish than anything else, and like the band is half Irish.
We draw on a lot of different kind of influences. The fact that 3 members of the band are Irish, born and bred. Well, 2 members of the band are born and bred, but that's kind of like irrelevant, really. You know, I mean, like they might just as well be Japanese born and bred, for example. We draw on a lot of diverse. Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm worse than I thought. You know what I'm saying. You tell me.
Yeah, well, I mean the basic. I mean like the basis of the music from the word go, right? Who's Daryl? The basis of the music is Irish music, yeah? Me mixed with rock and roll, country,
whatever.
Rhythm and blues.
We use whatever we think is going to be, whatever we feel is going to be appropriate.
Is this something you're asked a lot? Is this a question you at least can answer?
Yeah.
I mean, really, we're not an Irish band, and we don't play Irish music. Some of the stuff we play is Irish, and there is an undeniable, very strong Irish influence in what we do. But we're not like a punk version of the Clancy Brothers, which is, something we've been discussing.
Well, no, we were at one stage.
No, I mean, I dispute that. I mean, I can't actually see how. I can't see how a punk version of the Clancy Brothers, could exist.
You have to tell us who the Clancy Brothers are.
They're like the Beatles to the Dubliners Rolling Stones. You know what the Dubliners are? No.
Well, the Clancy Brothers are more like the...
There was an Irish folk revival at the beginning of the 1960s, yeah? And the Clancy Brothers went to America, got very big in America, and although they are a very rough and ready group, in fact, they had a quite clean-cut image comparatively, whereas like the Dubliners were a very dirty, kind of bearded, crazy kind of band. You know what I mean? Who like were more into rap. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
That's the best way of putting it. But they're all really good groups,
I mean, you got Sweeney's Men, who Terry was in. Terry Woods.
They were kind of like the Kinks, I suppose.
No, they were more like the
Pretty Things.
Pink Floyd.
Oh my God, man.
Early Pink Floyd. Quite what the Gates are doing.
So it's full of secrets.
Three Stooges. No, there were three of them actually. Yeah, they were three of them, you guessed. One of them more like Cream. They're like, in Irish music terms I'm talking now, and like Terry Woods was in that band. They were three very strong personalities in one band, and therefore they didn't last particularly long time.
No.
And now there's 8 very strong personalities in one band, and we seem to be lasting forever for some reason. Yeah. There you go.
I'm gonna work on that way. You guys, first started 83 then?
82.
No, 82.
82.
82.
Yeah.
It seems like since 82, the overall music scene has become rather clean cut, rather healthy. A lot of charities, a lot of benefits.
It's the rise of, fascism is spreading all over the world, and that music scene, say in Britain, just reflects that.
You have to take sides, really, I suppose.
What do you mean?
Well, everybody, politics, outlook on life, your whole attitude to life, it's become, more and more fascistic as the 80s have progressed towards the millennium.
Become more
fascistic, yeah. The fact that Thatcher...
In Europe, anyway. In Europe and America.
Probably in the States, yeah.
I don't know about Japan, but in Europe and America, definitely.
In what way, though? How do you mean?
People...
Well, the government's a right wing. There's repression of people's rights to sort of say what they to say what they think about things. There's
a denial of people's essential humanity. Something that say in the 60s, underlying all the sort of shit that went on in the 60s, fundamentally there was a realisation
It's a
that we're all human beings, and we all try to get on with each other, you know. Now that's gone completely the other way, you know. It's fuck you.
You think so?
Yeah, I do think so.
Things have gotten worse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, much worse.
Yeah?
Yeah. If the Vietnam War was happening in the 1980s, there wouldn't be any talk, any thought about getting the American troops out of there. They'd say no, send in more B-52s.
But isn't the fact that America is not actively involved in wars?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
I spent 6 weeks in Nicaragua. Don't tell me about America not being involved in any war. You know.
Well, there is indirect involvement in regional conflicts, but not major conventional war being.
There was in the 60s and the early 70s and the early 70s a realization that what America was doing in Southeast Asia was wrong, and probably the majority of the American people realized that it was wrong what was going on there. And as a result of this realization, of this perception, the Americans left Southeast Asia. Look at what the Americans are doing in Nicaragua.
Yeah, but don't forget that the majority of Congress has voted against aid to the Contras.
Yeah,
it's still going on now.
it's still going on.
It's still going on.
They actually did something with regard to Vietnam.
But don't forget that the government didn't stop the war in Vietnam. America lost the war. There was public.
Nixon got the bleeding soldiers out of Vietnam
Because of loss, though.
But they hadn't lost. They were losing from the
Did you say
word go.
loss
They
or
were
loss?
losing from the word go. You know, they never had a chance to win it anyway, basically. You know, but in the end, by now, if it was still going on, they would have won. You know, because they would have just wiped the country out. They would have leveled it to the ground. You know,
it meant something then. What was happening, right?
I understand what you're saying perfectly. I just think that there was an idealism back then that was kind of taking hold, but it was also very limited. Whereas now it seems to encompass a larger majority of people. You know?
Do you think so?
Sure.
Do you look at the American presidential election? You look at the people that are numbered as the presidential candidates. You have two non-entities, Dukakis and Bush, right?
Right.
There's, people have lost. What's the word? No one has any vision, any kind of perspective anymore, you know?
That's a good word for vision, I think, yeah.
Jesse Jackson is the only American politician
I couldn't agree more.
with any balls,
I couldn't agree more.
just shunted to the sidelines
Right.
in favour of a complete non-entity like Benson. I have to search my brain to think of the Democrat vice presidential candidate. He's a nobody, even more so than their actual presidential candidate. There is no more guts in America, the way they're looking at things. And if that's true about the States, then it's true about where we come from, because we follow their lead. And if you say America's morally bankrupt, Britain is far more morally bankrupt than America.
Yeah, なぜか政治の話。
just rub it on. Drug time.
Medicine, Shane. Medicine.
Sorry, medicine.
Are you guys doing anything to bring back the humanity to?
I think we are human beings.
It's
not. We have an ashtray.
Oh.
And
Alright.
I tell you, I could have an ash 30 in a bed.
Beer?
Yeah, and another 30.
Can I have some sake, please?
Give me the nut.
No, please. I think that people like us, I'm not gonna make any claims for us having for us being morally perfect or anything like that. But I think that the world could do with more people like us who, I think we have some...
There's plenty of people like us.
Yeah.
It's just we happen to
we're
be in a lucky position to sort of... we're not politicians or anything, but it's just things like music and things like that are more important than people think, certainly more important than most of the idiots who fucking, play pop music. There's no excuse really, after there's been bands who've laid their balls on the line, for a long time. A lot of bands have done it, There's no excuse for people who are just going, well, it's it's what the kids want,
Yeah.
This is this is pap, but this is what the kids want, and okay, everything is bad, but we're just we are just musicians, right? But pop musicians have been placed in a situation where they make a decision, a conscious decision, whether they're gonna help or not help. Whether they're gonna lie to people basically, or whether they're not. We have some kind of integrity. I think we have integrity. We may be a bunch of wankers, we may be a bunch of jerk-offs, but we do have integrity. We're not trying to dump on people, and we do have a sort of appreciation of the right way to do things and the wrong way to do things.
Doesn't that sound rather self-righteous though?
No, but we don't go preaching. We don't wear it on our sleeves. It's just something that you don't even need to say it out loud. Sorry, it's understood. It's there.
What about?
Don't want to preach to people.
We don't preach to people, but we don't lie to people either. We write songs, right, which are some of them. They're all about. They're just realistic songs rather than. But a lot of bands do that as well. But more bands just churn out pap, which even the most musically and lyrically is an insult to the people who listen to it. You know what I mean? And they churn out pap, which even the most mundane 60s rock group would never get away with. You know what I mean? If you ask me, to be quite honest.
So you make the difference by putting out quality music.
Yeah, quality music with
some kind of thought in it, not just textbook pap.
Yeah.
Not Pet Shop Boys are a classic example. There's Neil Tennant is obviously not a stupid person. But what does he do with his wit, with his brain? He makes crap.
Yeah, and he takes
the piss.
He takes the piss out of the fact that he's.
People eat it up.
He really thinks people are idiots, which they're not, right? And instead of doing anything supposing they are idiots like he thinks, right? What does he do? He just sneers at them and kind of rubs their noses in the dirt of their own idiocy, which as he perceives it,
You don't think he genuinely likes his music?
No.
I think
How could you like that?
Well, the thing is, you say this, but
how could you?
How could anybody like like a completely cynical, deliberately awful
version of a brilliant song.
You know.
Which song are you talking about?
You're always on my mind, you know. Which has been done.
You know, you stand there and you murder a classic.
Which has been done by Willie Nelson and Elvis Presley with real soul, with real soul.
Yeah, it's a great song. It's a great song.
I'll
The way the Pet Shop Boys do it.
I'll tell you something though. This topic comes up in so many interviews, but I can recall like back in 1982 when Duran Duran came out with Rio.
Which is rubbish.
Now, of course. Now, when I interviewed Simon Le Bon at the time, he had the record with him,
Just ask for one.
and he was
They
playing.
won't give me one.
They will give you one, just ask for one.
He was playing it for me, and he was like saying, "This is the good part. This is the part. Listen to this." And he was intoxicated by it. He loved it.
But Rio.
Rio, he loved it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that's the whole thing. Simon Le Bon is a dork. Simon Le Bon has about as much brains as this chair I'm sitting on. Neil Tennant is an intelligent man.
Is that the difference?
That is the difference, yeah. If Duran Duran had done a version of "You Were Always on My Mind,"
At least they would have tried.
they would have tried. They would have, you know, they would have put their hearts into it.
But they would have tried, you know.
That's very interesting. I've never thought of it from that perspective. You think that Neil Tennant is a real cynic?
Yeah, completely cynical. And I mean, like, you know, I mean, like, if we were putting this in a court of law, right? If this is in a court of law, that would be the best, you know, the most telling evidence you could give would be like the way that they did "You Were Always on My Mind." You know, I mean, like, it's just like, it's sort of like, it's horrible. It's horrible. I'm enjoying this now.
その
I have my crutch.
声がやられてる
Crutch.
今度なんていうかな、音楽に対するそのなんていうか、
Taxi driver could tell you that. You know what I mean?
A taxi driver could sing a better version of "You."
Yeah, a
Always on
taxi
My Mind.
driver would probably sing a much better version, you know. I mean, like last Christmas, like I mean, they beat us to number one, right? In England, right? We were number 2 and they were number 1 at Christmas, right? Yeah, and everybody knew, right, that rightfully we should have been number 1, you know, that there were strings being pulled to keep them at number 1, right? And like my old man, right, you know, kicked the radio around the room when he heard it come up, right? You know, us number 2 and us and them number 1, and it wasn't particularly because we were number 2, because he was pleased about the fact that we were number 2, right? It was the fact that we'd been beaten by rubbish like that, and by an atrocity perpetrated on a song which he knew, like, you know, from much older versions, because he's into country music, you know what I mean? And like, you know, I mean, he just went spatter, you know.
Do you think strings were pulled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? In what way though? How can that be done? Can the industry?
It's
In Britain, you can, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
By manipulating figures and whatnot?
What? Well, I mean, I don't. I mean, there's no.
We were number 1.
But,
We
you know,
were number 1. Right.
we were selling more records.
Yeah. This may sound like sour grapes, but it isn't. I mean, personally, I don't give a toss about the fact that we were number 2 instead of being number 1. It does bother me that that we were ripped off. If you know,
we were number 1 in Ireland, where there isn't any hyping really.
You know, we blew everything away in Ireland.
Sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's you know, we in Ireland, our chart position was what it should have been in Britain, because we.
So, he wants one.
Yeah, I want one.
Yeah, he wants. So yeah.
We.
Genuine chart, right? I mean, you have to actually sell records to be in the charts in Ireland, you know what I mean? And like, you can't hype things in Ireland. You know, there's just no way it can be done. You know what I mean? Because you don't have the same mechanisms. You know. But this isn't a market that people bother with much either. You know.
Yeah.
I mean? It's a genuine reflection of what people want to hear, what people are buying, what people are into. You know, people are still saying like, what a bloody brilliant record of Fairy Tale in New York was. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, that's the only reason that I know that it's a bloody brilliant record, because I can't really tell, you know what I mean? Because we did it, you know, it's very hard to criticise it.
The barmaid in my local pub, the pub that I live on top of.
We're talking about granny's, mum's, dad.
She's this barmaid, right? She's from Leitrim. You know? She's about 50 years old, and she's still, every time I go in there, she still has a go at me about the fact that Fairy Tale was not number one here. I mean, in Britain, because, you know, it's like you say, you know, it's rank injustice. So I'm gonna have a cigarette.
But you should. Really, you were hurt by this.
No, I was disgusted.
I was disgusted.
You know,
especially
I would have been equally disgusted if another record, like not by us, right, which was as good as our one, had the same thing happen to it. You know, I mean, it would have been just as revolting. You know,
if Teardrops by Womack and Womack had come out last Christmas and the Pet Shop Boys had beaten that,
yeah, it would have. Yeah.
You know, I would have. It'd been abhorrent. If We Rule, you know, if the We Go Papas had come out back then, and the Pet Shop Boys had beaten them, I'd have been just as fucked off as I am about our record not getting there.
フェリーテールっていうのはね、去年の、12月か、出て、people talk about the Pogues as like a classic example of the self-destructive pop group. And you lead a rather...
That's why he's got a crutch.
He's sitting there, you've got two little jars of sake, you have a crutch, a little thing of mess.
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate.
Maybe you can set the record straight.
We're not anything like as bad as we're made out to be.
Well, do people want to have somebody that can put a cigarette?
Yeah.
Uni's a target.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you think there are guys who live a lot more...
Have you ever spent any time with
Margaret?
I got better than that. Have you ever spent any time with U2? The so-called Christians. I mean, like, they're just as bad as we are. They're worse than we are.
Really?
U2.
I mean, they seem like such clean-cut...
That's probably what their families think. But, you know, no, I mean, they're not outrageous. But, I mean, like, they're not...
You think most of it's a facade? They're kind of a clean-cut image?
No, I think...
It's not a facade, it's...
They don't put up any facade. The point is that their music is... And I mean, they do sort of... You know, they wear their Christianity, you know, on their sleeves, which is cool, you know, if they're into that, right?
They also wear their tequila on their sleeves. Or on their shirt fronts.
But people don't notice that.
But people don't notice that because tequila is clean.
But the reason people don't notice that is because, like, they don't get numbered for it, you know, by the press and by...
We get talked about as though we're some kind of, you know, a bunch of outrageous animals. Jesus Christ, all we ever do is drink occasionally, you know.
Yeah.
That's it, you know, I mean, like, we don't go around throwing groupies out of hotel windows, or whatever it is that you're supposed to do.
We keep them in.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty...
Until the next morning, then we throw them out.
So
well, in fact, we don't even indulge in groupies because we're all married men.
And no one will look twice at us anyway. Except for our wives, because we bribe their families. But I mean, we don't behave badly. Every now and again we get drunk after gigs. I mean, Jesus
crutches
Christ.
and touring are extremely,
Yeah.
conducive.
We eat raw fish in London.
I ate some real fish this morning.
He ate some raw fish this morning. I would have eaten some raw fish this morning, but I was
Crippled.
worried about my ankle.
I guess we'll work on the relevance of that later. Gotta get back to the next question.
Love Americans.
今そのめちゃくちゃな生活する
I really do.
全く、そうだ。
じゃあ例えばそのテーマに出てくるのは
My wife's an American.
使う
His
My
wife's
wife's
an
an
American.
How's
American.
that right?
She's a girl.
She was an
歌詞の
American
内容っていう
girl.
のは
Yeah, she was an American
酒飲ん
girl.
でもいるとかそういうのを
Raised on promises.
I guess one of the reasons you said you may be an easy target is because the music often talks about like booze and women and gambling.
Life.
Mhm.
Maybe it goes on a bit too much about the sort of down rent,
The enjoyable parts of that.
low rent. I mean down market, the enjoyable parts.
Mhm.
But
It's because we're a good time band.
it's like it's saying well, people think that because there's songs talk about booze and gambling. Why not people castigate us as being incorrigible gamblers? The way that they castigate us as being incorrigible drunks. I mean, like there's just as many references to gambling, but that's not actually that's not actually something that's ever been said to us.
Yeah, until now.
Yet.
Yes.
So I
Until
just
now.
mentioned it.
he mentioned it.
He's an American. They love gambling. They're worse than the Chinese.
The Europeans don't.
Not the Europeans who come from Eastbourne. We just like dog shit.
Don't.
あそうですUS ツアーで
That's-
ピ
I
ッチ
didn't
行った
ask to come here.
聞いてる人いました時にジョースラムを使った
あ
でそれで、彼は、昔はポング
Post drummer time.
今は
ジャ
普通
ストラ
の
ジャストラ
おじさんになってしまう
This is a recurring one here.
やるせなくないですかで例えば昨日なんかその
The
ビデオ
Clash.
パーティーとかラモンズの練習
The Clash.
で彼らも昔はオリジナルファンクだったわけで、そういうものどう思ってるそういう
Look
Oh,
at
so
that
he's still
bloody
alive.
taxi.
普通のおじさん相変わらず全然変わってないラモンズ
But no, Poland.
Joe Strummer helped you out, I guess, on the U.S. tour, was it?
He played guitar for us.
No, he did help with
He
that.
did help us out.
Yeah.
We would have been lost without him.
He was kind of like originally a hero to you guys back in the early days of the Clash.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
What do you think of him now? I mean, having
He's still a hero of mine.
I love him. No, seriously, I think
I think he's a wonderful guy. I really
an
do.
excellent example of a human being.
In what way? What do we have to learn from Joe Strummer?
That you can be a rock star and not be an animal,
Exactly, yeah. You can be a human being and still be decent.
And sincere.
Yeah,
You think
he's fucking great. He's a really nice bloke.
has he retained his integrity as a performer?
Definitely.
Completely.
Poised to say something.
Yeah, well, I better not.
Don't.
I heard you guys were with the Ramones, I guess, last week. Or you saw them a couple days ago or something?
No, we had a party with him.
Uh-huh.
And the Trojans, they're a really good band as well. The Trojans, who are a ska band.
I didn't have a
from
party
London.
with him.
He didn't turn up. He was breaking his ankle at the time.
I see.
I was Rapongi Prince. Great name for our hotel.
いいよ。
あれですかどういう感じで
まあ、非常に
How long have you been living over here?
女子の方が変わってしまったことに関して
Since
How long
the
have you
war.
been living here?
8 years.
8 years. You speak brilliant Japanese.
あ、でかい。変わったってことは聞いてなかった。その昔は。
いや、全然変わってないっていうか、まさになんていうか、模範的な存在だと、非常に尊敬している。
God, I'm wasted.
最後の質問なんですけども、
One last one here.
まあ、作品を作りプロモーションやりツアーをやるというお行儀のいいロックンロールビジネスに対して、昔より融通が利くようになってますかということ。
You mentioned like almost being forced to constantly tour, constantly gig.
What?
In the beginning of the interview, you said you had to like constantly gig to keep yourselves going.
Yeah, constantly constantly tour. Yeah.
Have things gotten better though? It's like the vicious cycle of the music business is you put out a record, you got to go on tour to promote it, and you got to go back and write songs.
Yeah, no, that's just the same. There isn't any difference. No. We get paid a lot more, but it's better.
Pretty much you're forced to constantly work.
Yeah.
いや、それは全然別に変わってないっていうか、それは相変わらず、ただまあお金がなんていうか良くなったっていうか、ギャラが良くなったっていう、それだけでしょ。
そういう。
I mean, it ain't that we don't enjoy playing live. It's just that after a few years of doing it every night, practically, you know, it starts to drag a bit. You know, it starts to pull. Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. Pull.
I mean, personally, I like playing live a lot. But
I mean, playing live is like an hour and a half every day. You know, I mean, the rest of it is drudge. You know, it's travelling.
Feeling like complete shit.
Yeah.
Feeling like, you know, you've just been put through a mangler. And all you want to do is actually go home and go to bed.
And then you got to do a gig.
I want to go home and see my wife. I'll go home and see her, and I'll be too tired to even give her one.
I haven't had sex for about a year. I've been so knackered.
That's not quite true, is it? You're being economical with the truth there, aren't you?
あと撮影の
どこで？
トイレの中にね、
Does it work?
タイルがある。
What? Does it work?
Yeah.
That?
The paste.
Oh yeah, I don't have any topical analgesic.
Gentlemen, do you think we get a couple of photos down before we?
Yeah, but do we have to leave here right now?
There's apparently a little room over here with some tiles you want to get in the background.
Alright.
Is your ankle up to it?
Well, I mean, like, it will be when my crutch comes back.
It would be easy to do it here, but you want to do it somewhere else.
Apparently you guys' hearts on taking a picture of you guys in front of some tile in the latrine thing.
Oh!
Well, you got a best songs on, haven't you?
I've met people like you before, and they generally tend to be photographers. You're quite happily sitting somewhere perfectly comfortable, enjoying your tequila and grapefruit juice with a nice snug bar, and then this photographer comes along and says, "Excuse me,
There's a really interesting
toilet out there, and I'd like you, and there's an iceberg in it, and I'd like to put you inside the iceberg just to take a quick photo. I know it's 10 to 3, and the pub's shutting in a minute, but
It's the guitar in the shower syndrome, isn't it?
Frank says you have to do it."
Flank.
The flakes of the mighty Joe.
Flank Molly. Flank Molly is evil.
I would, wouldn't it be nice to get with me neighbours? Would say make it very clear, kind of give you a headbutt.
did you go last night?
Oh God, last night.
We didn't play any go last
Cafe Endless.
Cafe Endless.
Yeah, that's where I went. I had an argument with our drummer and went back to the hotel. Thank you very much.
He didn't do it, did he?
What?
He didn't do it, did he?
For him?
No. Andrew.
But this? No. Oh, that?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's far too... Angie wouldn't do it. No, he wouldn't. He'd talk about it.
No, he wouldn't.
Too much shit.
If you're kind of bogus, I guess we'll...
He is.
Yeah, I know.
Wanker.
一応線一人まあそうね抑える
The only people in this group I'm genuinely scared of are you and Daryl. And Jem.
Well, you know I wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, but Daryl might. Jem would. Oh, James. He'll have a few. Nah. Nah.
I've seen the way I pushed him off that table in the video. And then broke his fall to save his life.
He's really upset about it. Really upset about it.
Well, I saved his life, man.
Yeah, he doesn't look at it. He doesn't. What? Look. Why do I have this little thing inside the can?
What's that?
Is it like one of these Russian
Oh,
dolls?
that's one of those things that heats up automatically.
What has it got? Hot water?
Technology is.
You tap it or something, it automatically heats up.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
What was I thinking?
Technology in this country is absolutely it's outrageous. You know, it's completely outrageous. It's total a nation of genius. You know, I mean, like, who'd think of doing something like that?
Yeah.
You've taken the trouble of putting a little thing inside a can of sake to keep it hot. You know, I mean, like, anyone else would, well, stick it over a Bunsen burner or something. Japanese, nah. We have some inside there already. Jesus. And they have instructions. They have instructions telling you how to open it. My God.
I suppose that if, it's going to be a burden, we could just take the pics in here.
Well, if he really wants to do it, that's what you've got to have a piss sometime.
I had absolutely no need to have a piss.
We can do it right here, guys.
I can't do it.
If he wants to do it, I don't mind doing it.
Right, let's go and...
It's just I can't walk. We thought it was going to be appropriate.
Is this something you're asked a lot? Is this a question you're used to answering?
Yeah.
Really, we're not an Irish band. And we don't play Irish music. Some of the stuff we play is Irish, and there is an undeniable, very strong Irish influence in what we do. But we're not like a punk version of the Clancy Brothers, which is, something we've been discussing.
Well, no, we were at one stage.
No, I mean, like, I dispute that. I mean, like, I can't actually see how. I can't see how a punk version of the Clancy Brothers, could exist.
You have to tell us who the Clancy Brothers are. It's a new one.
They're like the Beatles to the Dubliners Rolling Stones. You know what the Dubliners are? No.
Well, the Clancy Brothers are more like the...
It was an old Jewish English.
Hi, Spider.
And so it's always been like sort of half and half, because like me and Andrew are still in it, and there's Terry and Phil who are both Dublin born and bred, if you can call being from Dublin Irish.
You had a nasty fall.
I think so, yeah.
If you don't feel compelled to talk or anything, you just kind of sip this one afterwards. You kind of look like you're in pain.
I am. Great deal of pain.
Not too guzzling. You can't assume though that the band is more Irish, I guess, than anything else though.
Well, yeah, I mean,
like,
the music is more Irish than anything else, and like the band is half Irish.
We draw on a lot of different kind of influences. The fact that 3 members of the band are Irish, born and bred. Well, 2 members of the band are born and bred, but that's kind of like irrelevant, really. You know what I mean? Like they might just as well be Japanese born and bred, for example. We draw on a lot of diverse. Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm worse than I thought. You know what I'm saying. You tell me.
Yeah, well, I mean the basic. I mean like the basis of the music from the word go, right? Who's Daryl? The basis of the music is Irish music, yeah? Mixed with rock and roll, country,
Whatever.
Rhythm and blues.
We use whatever we think is going to be whatever.
The success of the single, was it Fairy Tale in New York?
Yeah.
Did that change the lifestyle of the band much? I think yours is coming after this. Yeah.
The lifestyle.
Yeah.
Didn't change our lifestyle, it changed our ability to live it. Increased it. It didn't really change much, no, it didn't change anything.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's just still the same old guys you were before that. Success hasn't changed at all.
Well, we were pretty successful before that, you know, in England, Ireland, Europe. And now we're even more successful in England, Ireland, and Europe. But we're still slugging our guts out, you know, touring, you know, same as we were before.
That's kind of the policy of the band.
Well, it's the only way we can live. It's the only way we can possibly live. You know. We've got 8 people in the band. We've got, altogether it's about 14 people, band and crew. We've got to pay everybody's wages every week. So, like, the only way we can possibly do it is by gigging, more or less constantly.
We tend to think of the Pogues as an Irish band. In fact, I guess there's only 3 or 4 members who are actually from Ireland.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the identity of the band, though. So it has a rather Irish sound to it.
Originally there was 6 members, yeah? And half of them, like me, Andrew, and the original bass player, Cut, were from Irish families, yeah? And Spider.
Japanese tea.
I mean, Spider and Jem and James are English, I suppose. You can call being from Manchester English and being
Romanian.
Romanian.